is this levy plus 2.9%?
3.5.
3.5.
Is that the,
The CPI is 2.9%.
yeah,
But we're gonna run it at 3.5. The county will cut us back to 2.9. But that gives us room if there's any increase in the AAV that they don't have.
okay.
The new Lakeside Marine should count towards it too, I think.
It isn't shown in the EAV as of yet.
Okay.
So that's one of the things that, not that one specifically, but that's why you always go more than the cost of living and let them cut you back, let the county cut you back.
Did anybody text Richard to see if he was on his way?
I don't have my phone, so I don't. You got any yours?
Don't know.
We need them.
Yeah, we do.
Sure they're doing. Okay, good.
Good sign.
Who's on the committee? Sorry,
It's me and Richard.
okay.
I'll be looking for another volunteer from the, right there, yes.
There he is.
Hello.
Howdy. How's everybody doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Cause didn't they say we were supposed to have 3 members?
He recommended 3.
Huh?
He recommended 3.
I can figure it out, I gotta go,
Okay,
just so you know.
well, if you have to go, then we have to end the meeting.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
Yep.
Well, that's why I said Thursday.
you and I are the only, members on the committee.
Yeah, well, hopefully I won't get paged out.
Okay,
So
so,
let's try not to have meetings on Wednesday.
all right, in the future note, don't have meetings on Wednesday. So let's go ahead and open the meeting, I guess. Do we need a roll call? Okay. Do we have any additions to the agenda?
I have one, yeah, I wanna speak to the slab, the floor at the pavilion in Lions Park.
Okay. I would also like to have a quick note about interest-bearing accounts. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Oh,
And I'll second.
and there you
All in favor, say
go.
aye. Aye. Do we have any public comment? No public comment. Okay, review approval of the June 9th, 2025 Finance Committee meeting minutes. Jen, did you sign those?
Can I see it?
Copy of them if you want.
Yeah, the paper copy.
Here's an extra packet of stuff here. Mark's not here if you want this. It's got all the stuff in it.
Do you have any comments on the minutes?
You.
Kellen, you can, even though you're running the meeting, you can motion something too.
Okay.
Can I motion to approve?
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Business, we need to review and discuss the annual comprehensive audit. Did you get a chance to look that over?
Yeah, 2.5 hours of my life I'll never get back.
I think a number of people here have questions about it. so I'll open the floor.
So I can pose questions to
Sure.
the treasurer and Jenna if I have questions?
Send them to both of us, send them to me, I'll share them with Angie. But I'm
Well,
gonna,
no, I mean, I have basic questions that maybe you guys can answer.
Tonight, yeah.
You know, if we need to send something to them, we can do that before the meeting.
One question I do have that maybe one of you guys does know, the bond payments on the stuff we borrowed the money for the water fund, is that included or not in operational expenditure,
the loan payments,
the loan payment?
we don't have bonds, we have loans.
Yeah.
Okay,
They are considered liabilities.
That's the 88,000, right?
No, it's like 70,000 a year. For well house number 6 and Shabbona Road.
but I think that's not actually when we're looking at the income statement, it's not actually in the operational expenditures.
Probably not, I can verify with the auditor,
Okay,
because it's considered liabilities and the accounts we're keying to are liability accounts.
okay, because when I was looking over it, it looked like in our operational income,
Turn that off.
our, the debt service fee that we're charging is in there, but it's not in the operational expenditure. So when I'm doing the numbers, I gotta like add in our interest payments, or our payments on our loans, in order to figure out, you know, what our actual operational expenditure is. So I just wanna make sure that that's the case.
Question on the interest too.
Another question I have is, we only have 2 actual bank accounts, correct? Okay, and the various funds we have are in the general checking, and the funds are just accounting, they're not like an actual separate discrete fund. Are we able to, are those funds like set in stone, or are we able to like put more, like add more funds? Like, is the board able to just establish, like, this is our fund for this future expenditure that we think we're gonna have?
We can create an account under any fund or create a fund and yes, reserve money into it.
Okay,
For example, we had the facade fund
Mhm.
that was meant for improvements downtown that ended up,
Nothing's happened with the plan for that.
the facade fund still exists, is that correct?
It exists, Frank said to move the money out of it into the general fund after we got all the audit adjustments done, because the general fund went into the red.
Right, I noticed that we moved money from general to water.
That was because the money should have never been put in general. It was a reimbursement check from the IEPA towards the Shabbona Road project. All the payments for that money that was reimbursed were paid out of the water fund.
Okay, was that a recommendation from the auditors to reclassify those funds?
To take it from general to water.
Yeah,
It was because it had to be, because that money was designated for water.
okay,
so,
On our end, it was deposited in the wrong spot to start with, twice actually. First time it went into grants, then it went into the general fund, and then it sat in a liability account and in the general fund, and it was general cash, but it truly wasn't general cash.
so when I first got here, the water fund was majorly in the hole. And,
correct.
so since I've kind of wrapped my head around some of what has happened is that we paid for that project out of the water fund, paid for it out of the water fund, paid for it out of the water fund, out of the water fund. But then when we got the loan, it went into grants, which it should never have gone into grants.
Should have reimbursed,
Right, it should have gone into the water fund, but it went from grants to the general fund, so then the general fund looked like it was booming, whereas the water fund was in the negative. But really, that loan money, that money should have gone into the water fund where all of the expenditures came out of.
Okay, we have a negative general fund balance now. I might have a question towards the attorney in terms of like, to what extent are we able to spend from a negative fund? Because if we're spending on an expenditure that's not a water expenditure, then we can't take it out of another fund.
We can, sorry, Angie.
Yeah, go
answer
ahead.
that. We can take it from within the general accounts. We can take it from capital improvement to cover general.
Okay. Okay, so we have $82,000 in capital improvement, negative $27,000 in general.
And that was as of September 30th. That number is going to improve with the October report. She's still doing reconciliation, so we can't run it yet. It'll drastically improve. It should be in the low positives.
Okay,
The garbage
good.
payments have helped that from the
Okay.
utility bills. Plus, we've gotten revenue in since for October that's not totally showing on here.
And they're all going into the correct accounts
Okay.
now, so.
Okay.
Can I just ask a quick question? Why were these, how did that happen?
How did what happen?
The,
misappropriation of funds.
the funds going into the wrong accounts, I mean, was that directed by somebody to do it that way, or was it?
Initially, no. It was, a loan is not a grant. So it should have never went to the grant fund, should have always went to the water fund.
Right.
But when it got pulled from, when that got caught and it was getting pulled from grants, the accountant that was doing reconciliations every month with the village said, well, but are you sure it's supposed to go to water? And it ended up sitting in the general account. It should have went to water.
So it was-
And
it
these
was
are
a
things
mistake.
that Angie and I have learned from this.
And we're straight, was it the former person in your seat that didn't know what they were doing that got it to that point? Because we're gonna get hit with questions from the public, I guarantee you that we're gonna get hit with these. And I guess I want some type of explanation of how it got into this to start with.
It was a human error
Okay.
that,
It shouldn't have happened, but it happened, but at least now we've got it corrected, is what you're
Correct.
saying, okay.
and I will say from this process is inheriting the audit on, week one of no treasurer. I learned, and Angie's, we talk a lot about funds and where monies are going, and that is the grant fund needs to be used correctly because it was not used correctly prior to now. As of October's numbers, the grant fund is being used correctly.
And
So it's kind of,
one last question I have, is there any liability as far as, it was a human error, I understand that, we all make mistakes. But is it from a legal standpoint, is this gonna put us in any type of jeopardy, I guess, and maybe the attorney could have answered that, I don't know, but.
I think the attorney would have to answer that. I don't think so.
I mean, I don't know if a citizen from Shabbona could basically say, you guys aren't running this right and I'm filing a lawsuit against the village board or whatever.
But I don't know if there were laws that were broken, it
Okay.
was,
That's what I'm trying, I guess where I'm trying to get to.
yeah,
Okay.
I mean, nobody stole money, there's no money
Missing,
gone, no money missing.
it's just that it
Basically,
wasn't
a
put where it was supposed
A
to be.
ledger mistake, yes,
It's all been accounted for?
yes.
Okay, that's, okay. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Was there more spending than wise? Maybe, but there was no, as far as I know, there were no laws. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, and
Okay.
And that's a fair statement, because looking at the general account coming through last calendar year and early this year, you'd think, hey, we've got money to spend, but really didn't.
Okay. I have probably a question for the auditors, or maybe you guys know, I don't know. So we break down our income between water and sewer, but the balance sheet, I'm just seeing business type activities, and like all of the assets and liabilities are just all in the same balance sheet. Can we break that out?
so what happens is with every single utility bill, the utility bill comes in and it's $300. And a portion of that goes to water, a portion of it goes to sewer, a portion of it goes to general for garbage. And then if people overpay, then a portion of it is unapplied cash. So for every single check, there's four different, it spreads out into four different, five. What's
Debt reduction.
Debt reduction, yeah.
Yeah.
The last one. So that's where you know what I mean? So does that at all answer your question?
Well, I understand that, and we have, like, I can see, like, this is how much income we're getting from water, this is how much income we're getting from sewer. But I'm looking at the balance sheet, and the reason I'm asking is because I kind of want to know, like, we have assets that we're depreciating on the balance sheet. I kind of want to know, like, what proportion of that is water, what proportion of that is sewer, so that we can forecast where the rates should be in the future. And right now, I'm just looking at the balance sheet, it's all together. So like, I just don't know, I don't know what portion of it's water, which portion.
Is that the balance
Did
sheet
you look at
in the
50?
packet?
Look at page 57.
57?
Yeah. And they got this one there. So water sales, sewer services charges.
Okay. Yeah, this is the schedule of revenues and expenses.
Right.
What I'm looking for is specifically depreciation, like how does that break down? Like what are we depreciating our sewer assets at versus what are we depreciating our water assets at?
Oh, I see what you're saying. I thought you just wanted those services broken down in the
Yeah, so it's all just
revenue
one
expense.
number. So I'm wondering do we have those classified? Like these are our water assets, these are our sewer assets? Or is it just, like, we don't really know?
That I do not know the answer to. I would say that could be a question for the auditor
Oh, yeah,
or the accountant.
auditor first.
Yeah, I looked at the depreciation schedule, I didn't see the breakdown either.
What page is that on? Over the balance sheet that Kellen was looking at.
Balance sheet is early on, page 12 or something. Page 15 and somewhere around there.
Page 15.
Yeah, so on 15 in the center, it's got the non-current assets, depreciable. Accumulated depreciation. I had found, and I can't find it again, the loan payment I missed the zero, it's 80,700. Does that sound right?
Totals are, it's like
So
69
IVPA loans
something.
payable, totals 80,701,
What page are you on?
page 16. Line 4. Or line 3, actually.
That is what it
I
says.
believe that's with interest rate.
No, with interest, it's right around 70,000.
So where's that number?
Alright, here's a question, where's that number come from?
I know I thought it, I saw it 80.
The same number. Oh,
Got it.
it's a different number.
No, it's there. Liability is 24, IEPA, loans payable 80,701. There's the 87 that I saw, so when I was scanning, my brain picked that up.
Is it like, is like an issue with the fiscal year, like they're
I don't know.
pro rata?
And then I'll have to look back at the payments that were made during that fiscal year, and then I'll ask the auditors the question too.
Alright, does anybody have further questions about the audit?
Oh, yeah. I know you got a bunch of stickies there.
I'm good for now.
Are you good for now?
Yeah.
Okay. Mine are just basically wondering what the changes are. So if you look at page 7, what would be the change for charges for services?
Yeah, why is our service charge so much higher than it was in 24?
So you've got two different types. You've got governmental activities and business type activities. And there's a huge swing in those numbers. I was wondering what that is.
Is that the water and sewer charges?
Business type activities apply to the water and sewer. Yeah.
I mean, we raised the rates, but I don't know why to do that high.
So we started raising them in 23.
It seems like too big of a jump.
Yeah, 293 to 423 seems, unless they're getting that number 420. I found another number that's incorrect that I had red flagged. I actually should have put away. I'm like, am I seeing things? Because the number is, it's ridiculous. I don't know if that's maybe where to pull that from. And I found the other question I had, which was, and I'm sure it's everybody, that general fund, the change of 95.3, that's what we're discussing, where we thought there was money in there and there wasn't. To see that drop like that, that's huge.
It was $475,000.
So on page 55, so it's not the same number, but on page 55, when you look at original, final, and actual on intergovernmental, am I just missing that third column at 469? That does not seem to be a correct number. If you add up those columns, I'm assuming you're adding up those columns and getting that number. The first two look correct, and then the third one looks, it's like, what? Where are you getting that from?
Yeah, did they miss a line there or something?
I will ask.
And then the other one on the same page, you know, I've got more questions, but the, is it the license fees or garbage fees? So it went from 88 to 111, is that the
That's
increase?
garbage fees.
Those are the increase that we're talking about?
Well, we went up 4% on January 1st.
But that
Yeah,
number, that looks a little high,
looks a little high, yeah.
to go from 88 to 111.
Yeah. Is that number correct would be my
Yeah.
first question. I looked at that too earlier. And I said, what?
And I guess my question on this, what is miscellaneous?
page.
Same page 55.
You know, we collected 112,000 in miscellaneous.
Miscellaneous, that seems,
Was that like miscellaneous grants? Or is there a separate category?
So I will double check with them, but I suspect that was $82,000 payment from IDOT for the ITEP grant for downtown. I suspect that was, because that's where that reimbursement check went to, so I suspect that, well, that's what a portion of it was. I don't know about the other $40,000, but I'll verify.
Yeah, so if you look at the one that I red flagged, the 469 number, that is also on page 52, which impacts the much larger number. For the original was 661, final 661, and then actual. So if that number is incorrect, that whole column is incorrect.
Yeah.
Okay.
So are those, is that our mistake or the auditor's mistake? How does that,
I
how
don't
does that
know,
work?
depends on what they, if the numbers pulled that way from reports I sent them,
Uh,
or if somebody miscalculated at their end. I don't know. We'll find out.
Maybe you get an audit for this audit.
Yeah, we need an audit for the audit. Do you have more questions or whatever?
469 is a very good catch. I didn't see that one. Josh, do you have any questions? Frank?
I mean, I've got a couple more. You want me to keep
Oh,
going?
yeah, shoot.
Haven't used the highlighter in quite a while.
It'd be better organized. Start bookmarking these things.
Yeah, I know. Construction in progress, 702,285. What page? We're looking at 35. I was just wondering where that number comes from.
Is that from the streetscape?
Could be.
So that's the facade account or the?
But then why is it non-depreciable? Why is it under non-depreciable if it's?
Right.
I do not know. I will ask what it's from.
Like,
So is that the-
constructing anything, it should be depreciable.
Right, but I mean, if that, she's saying that nobody ever touched that, so is that in an account that is that the money we're moving after the audit?
We didn't move $700,000. Only thing we majorly moved was the 475 from the IEPA loan.
This is just capital asset stuff. So
Right.
that's just saying that we have 702,000 more in assets.
Yeah, cause I see the huge jump, we went from,
Yeah,
getting balances to increases.
if it's the streetscape, it kind of makes sense, we put that amount of money into it. But then why is it under why is it under non-depreciable, and why does it say construction in progress?
Because the project's not closed out yet.
At this point.
I guess as long as the project isn't closed, the project is non-depreciable. So maybe that's just an accounting tautology.
Yeah. So again, just to reiterate what I mentioned before, so if we're on 37 and we're looking at the long-term debt, the IEPA loans,
Which
We
page?
were sold-
Oh, there we go.
we were sold on the fact that they were gonna be forgiven. Like it was no big deal. Hey, let's stick out all these, and they're just gonna forgive them. So have we?
So from the beginning on that, because I was at all those meetings, it was the Shabbona Road portion was going to cost around the water lines was going to cost between, I don't remember exact numbers, 400, 500,000. For an additional amount, which took it up to 950, they could do the looping piece that they did as well. And at that time, IEPA said it will be 50% forgiven. So it was, why not do it all, and it'll be 50%
So it's
forgiven, so we'll only be
50%.
paying the $475,000.
So that's
If
where
we
the
just
nine,
done the $475,000, 50% was not being forgiven.
so the 950, that's why we see retirements of 486.
Correct.
Okay. In reference to the employee retirement system, I guess the only thing that kind of stood out, and a good thing you had it at the end, because I was losing my mind already. I wasn't really into it that much, but I was wondering what the service cost is. What is that? Page 46. Darn light, third down, light on. What does that service cost of 17,000 represent? Is that for our plan to be administered?
Oh, hope not.
No, that's why I'm saying. When I see service costs on an investment plan, it's like, wait a minute.
I don't know, I'll ask.
Because that seems like a hefty service cost for, I can't see us having that. I think the number I saw was 10 people on the retirement. Or 5 on and 5 are slated to go.
There are currently 3 fully retired people from it. Alive people.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of curious.
There were 2 at the end of this fiscal year.
I think that's pretty much it. I mean, other than the, I've got just some side questions in regards to, policy, why would, we don't have, the village does not have, so page 34, concentration risk. The village does not have an investment policy that addresses concentration risk. We probably don't have any investments, so that's probably why we don't have a policy for that, I would assume.
Good guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Gonna take all that money we have and
Yeah.
throw it into one thing.
So, I mean, I guess that was my question on that. And then,
We do have an investment policy. It must not have that in it.
so I guess that would be something that the board would want to address on, concentration risk. We probably don't want to get into it, so we're putting all our eggs in one basket. The budget, so on 33, 3 paragraphs down. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5th bullet point. The budget or appropriations ordinance is adopted on a cash basis, which is not consistent with GAAP. Or generally accepted by GAAP, I guess that would be. And then the 2 bullet points down where it says the village did not budget for motor fuel tax fund. I don't know, is that normal?
You don't know, we can budget for it in the future because there's reports that predict what you will get.
I would probably pose this question to the auditor about the budget or appropriation ordinance is adopted on a cash basis. What exactly would it mean to do it on an accrual basis or whatever they're recommending us do?
I mean, there had to be a reason why they
Accrual
put that in.
accounting.
Yeah, well, what would it mean to adopt it in appropriations ordinance on an accrual basis instead of a cash basis?
Well, yeah.
Got it.
And then on page 7, other general revenues. I was wondering what that would be. I'm sure it's somewhere that I didn't find it. So totals, so it went from 17,000 to 117, what is that? I mean, we magically had an extra $100,000 just to pay.
Not grants, grants funds is separate.
I will ask. It's another one that I suspect it has something to do with a reimbursement check getting deposited somewhere between the ITEP grant and the IEPA loans.
You don't know what to do with something, just put it in other.
There's a miscellaneous account some things went into that they shouldn't have went into.
I think I'm done. That's pretty much it.
The last statement there on page 7, the net position of business type activities increased by 35.8%. I'm confused about that.
I'll ask.
I would wonder what's the increase there?
Even the paragraph above it. Net position of the village governmental assets activities increased by 7.2%. Compared, to give a comparison, unrestricted net position, the part of net position that can be used to finance day-to-day operation without constraints totaled a deficit of $44,000. I'm confused also by that.
Yeah, my last one is just, it's not a big deal. But, the graph at the bottom, 9, I believe that's incorrect.
And on page 9,
At the bottom.
water and sewer expenses saw a decrease of $405,000.
Yeah, but this graph shows that, the expenses exceeded revenues for water and sewer operation.
No,
But then
revenues exceeded expenses.
No, blue's revenues, yellow's expense,
Yellow's expense.
and our revenue.
Yeah,
This
that's
is a
why,
black and
I know I'm
white.
colorblind, but come on,
Oh.
that's just me.
Sorry, the tall box is the revenue,
Right,
the short box is the expense.
right, and it says this graph shows the expenses exceeded revenue,
Right, it's opposite of what it is.
so it's opposite.
I think that's probably because of the aforementioned Shabbona Road, debt forgiveness. If we recorded that as a liability and then put that off,
Right.
then our net position went up $400,000.
Yep.
But if that's not correct, then the auditor can tell me.
Okay.
Frank, you got anything else?
You guys have hit on pretty much everything I had highlighted here. Again, it's the transfer out. On page 8, the first paragraph there. I understand the public safety decrease, but the rest of it I'm not too. And I'm sure it all has to do with grants.
Yeah, I do wonder what the transfer out refers to as well.
Well, that's the 125 they moved through.
That's 125,000, yeah.
Yeah,
They move more than that from water to general, or general to water,
what was the total that they moved?
like $400,000.
Was it 400?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would wanna know exactly what the transfer out is referring to.
I think to your question, Jeff, there was more than one mistake made. They kind of compounded upon themselves.
Well, I just wanna make sure we're prepared as a board to answer, because those questions are gonna come up. I guarantee
As
you
they
they're
should.
gonna come up, and, yeah, right, and we gotta have answers for it, and, you know, like I said, you're gonna have some people that are gonna make allegations that somehow, you know, whether it's, you know, I don't know if you like this board, because this board's fairly new. There's only a couple of these old people. One. Sorry, Denny.
I've been living a high life, you know.
But yeah, I mean, and I know that's why some people ran, was that there were questions that were out there, you know. And I think there's still gonna be questions out there that we as a board need to address. And I got no problem telling the public that we made a mistake, you know, by putting money where it should have went. And we now have it under control, and we're gonna watch it and make sure that it's done properly.
I think a point that I'd like to make there is that we didn't make a mistake. We came upon a mistake.
Correct.
And the public needs to know that we are trying to rectify that.
But I'm not looking to hang anybody either.
I'm not looking to hang anybody either, but we did not make a mistake.
Correct. But if it was an honest mistake that was made, it was an honest mistake, and it's been found, it's been corrected, and it's gonna be monitored and hopefully done right in the future. I don't want people giving Cindy, you know, all kinds of shit out there that, you know, she did something wrong, or, you know.
I'm not by any means saying Cindy did, she might have done something wrong, it wasn't intentional.
Correct, that's what I mean,
It
it was an honest mistake that was made, that was caught, it's been corrected, it's gonna be monitored, and, you know, we're gonna try to make sure that, you know, those things don't happen in the future, but, you know.
I think the people, the citizens of town need to know that she was handling a huge amount of money with these grants
Correct.
and the amount of money that was going in and out due to construction projects. We've had quite a discussion this week, and I think Callan would probably agree with us, because he said it too, our budgeting process is, as far as I'm concerned, totally out of step. We do an appropriation project, and we don't have a budget, we have an appropriation. And I think the board members easily can see that we have X amount of dollars appropriated, and then they think we've got X amount of dollars. That appropriation is, I think, is where we got in trouble here, is that the board members didn't look deeper into it than, and I guess I don't, the money was appropriated, but that doesn't mean that we have the money to spend. But I don't think that's the way it was looked at. I think it was looked over as, hey, we've got this appropriation, we can spend that amount of money. And I do wanna change that going forward.
Yeah, and that's why I really wanna nail down exactly what our operational expenditures are, so that we can accurately budget in the future. I would like to have a budget, and I would like to forecast what our expenses are gonna be next year, and the year after that, and the year after that. So, knowing what our operational expenditures are for general, for water, for sewer, is gonna be really important, so that we can actually budget in the future.
And we are working really hard on that. We're picking these expenses up and getting them categorized. So we know 2 years back, we know 2004 or 24 and 25.
So, I guess maybe at the next village board meeting, we just need to make a statement on behalf of the board that, you know, we are gonna make some changes so that we make the process clean and understandable. And that, you know, but I know we didn't make this board didn't make the mistakes, and I understand that. But I think we have to let the public know that there were some issues and some problems out there that have been found, have been corrected, that nothing was done illegally, but, you know, we did it, there were some issues here. And I
Well,
think-
the difference between this board and the last board was, here we've got board members involved. In the last board members were told what happened, but they weren't in the consulting and planning and all that kind of stuff. We had regular employees that were responsible to do that. And we ended up where we ended up. Which is, you know, good to see board members involved. You need that. But there's also a point where board members can get too involved and slow things down or disrupt things. So there's kind of a balance there too. One extreme, another extreme, you know, let's somewhere being in the middle. Let's respect our employees and what they do and how they do it. But yet keep an eye on them. Does that sound all right? Or, I mean, let's not get too picky.
I agree. So yeah, what I would like to do in the future, probably discuss this at the next finance committee meeting, is I want to really nail down what our operational expenditures are, forecast what they're gonna be, and what our revenues are gonna be, so that we can budget, effectively. I would say that we're gonna need, well, number one, we're gonna need the auditor's help, so I think, once we get those answers from the auditor, we can kind of move forward with another finance committee meeting. For now, does anybody have any other questions?
Well, so on page 10 at the bottom is where I found that 125,000.
Oh, Jen or Angie, are you taking notes of our questions?
Oh, I've got them all listed.
Okay, great, thank you.
So under proprietary funds, that's where that 125,000 transfer was, the current year fiscal. The current year surplus, and then it says, water and sewer fund was 538 before the transfer of 125, which resulted in a surplus of 663. So there's that 125 transfer. I'm the one that said, I think that one would be fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where's the rest?
So that's what it started out at, and then they transferred 125, which made it that. So I knew, you said it was 400,000, I knew that number was kind of sticking out there in my head.
And I believe the 125, I'd have to go back and look at reports I uploaded for them. I believe that was one of the things that they dug for, that was one of the initial ones they were digging at, because I'm like, I don't understand what this money, on the report, I didn't understand what the money was for, so they had to dig a little deeper to figure out where it was supposed to be. There was quite a bit of funds that ended up
Excuse me.
Bless you.
shifting.
Yeah, cause I mean, you could see the huge spread. It said the previous fiscal year reported a surplus of only 155, so that's that question on there. And then if we go to, the budget on 56. So what are fringe benefits? What is?
Fringes are sick, vacation, and PTO,
Okay,
and it did include comp time in the past. We now pay overtime this fiscal year.
so we budget almost 72,000 for that, and we only utilized 18?
Oh, and IMRF is part of that too.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there's, did you highlight the office rental?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was one of those.
yeah.
Why on earth do we have 127,000 office rental?
Well, we budgeted half of that.
And why do we even budget that much for it?
We
only
pay
have-
$600 a month.
We pay $600 a month, why do we have $127,000 in actual expenses according to this? Where did that go? Yeah.
There's a lot of numbers in this report that look down farther to the the park and beautification, look at that.
Yeah. We budgeted 2.25.
But again, remember, we didn't have a budget number, we had an appropriation number.
Right. So yeah, so again, if we're only paying $600 a month,
I don't,
I
that
mean,
was the
that's-
question
I
I
don't know
had.
why we appropriated so
why
much,
are
but I
we,
really
why
don't
are we
know why.
appropriating and why are we paying 127?
Yeah,
What did we pay
$127 go?
127 to?
Yeah, that was actually, that number was my biggest concern looking through this, was like, where on earth did $127,000 go?
Yeah.
Who are we renting this office space from?
Trump,
Yeah.
Apparently, in Trump Tower, in Chicago.
I think things really got confused with too
Can
many
you put that at the
projects,
top of
too
the
many
list for the
grants.
auditor?
Yeah.
Huh?
Can you put that at the top of the list for the auditor?
The page 56 budget thing?
The 127,000.
127,000
Yeah.
for office
Office
rental.
rental.
What is that number, where is that number at? Why is that so high? That we spent $127,000?
Yeah, this is an actual expense.
Right, that's
It
what
went
it
to
says.
something. What did it go to? Why is it classified as office rental?
I don't know.
Looks like one of those things just make the audit come out right. I don't know, it's,
It's almost double what it should be.
It's
No, I mean, we only pay $600 a month.
Well, I mean, yeah.
72.
Well, but we budgeted, I mean,
7,200
It's
if we
15
budget.
times what
high,
it should
yeah.
be.
Yeah. I mean, we already budget almost 10 times.
Yeah, we should never even had that much in the actual.
Yeah.
No, that's the part that
And
makes
that's
0 cents.
$7,200, it should be, should have been that, the budget.
Yeah. And as far as I know, I thought that we did appropriate for the actual, or your actual rent. I thought we appropriated.
That's-
well, we've got
Electrical,
appropriations here someplace.
Nicor, and Julie, and we pay a lot for electrical.
Yeah, so
Going on the different.
I guess the last thing is that I have a question about that I can find right now. So on page 58, utilities, we budgeted 12.5, and we paid twice as much. Am I looking at that correctly?
For
Utilities?
utilities.
Which is what, electric, water,
Electric, Nicor, and Julie are the utilities. And a large percent of it is electricity.
And just
And
a
I
note,
wanna say we spent near about 20,000 or so on electricity last year.
just as a note, we need to break Julie out of that, cause that Julie is not a utility.
You know, you go further down, office supplies and postage, 81,950 is what we budgeted. And we spent 18,000, why would we budget that much to start with?
Which one was that?
Office supplies and postage.
81,950, it says that we budgeted, yet we only spent 18,000.
That would include, well, not that high though. Usually there's around 10,000 that in the past that's been appropriated for replacement of computers, printers every year,
There's a
but
budget,
that's still an awfully high number.
there's an appropriation number for that, computers.
Yeah, here it's lumped together
And that's
under with
just,
office supplies,
and that's just the water portion of those.
water and sewer.
This is just water and sewer, right?
Water's
Water
at
is-
the top and sewer's at the bottom.
It's just, yeah, it's just.
Oh,
water,
yeah.
so.
Yeah, cause we budgeted, 2.2 million on construction and equipment on page 59, and we only spent 81,000.
I think I'm not the only one confused by this audit, I think the auditors are probably confused. Or they should be.
Poor guys.
That's pretty much all my stuff.
Anything we got?
Yeah.
Any other questions? If we don't have any more audit questions, this won't be the last time we talk about it, but,
One thing on it, before you move on.
Yep.
So the auditor did a volunteer to come early the Thursday, the 20th, before our regular board meeting. Do we wanna schedule a finance committee before the board meeting, like at 5 o'clock,
and that's.
Thursday, the 20th of November?
Okay.
I'd say 5:30, but I don't know
No, I
if 30
don't-
minutes would be enough
I'm
time.
Yeah.
not sure an hour is enough time.
We just took an hour just to do questions, not answers.
If we're gonna do that, we might want to do 4:30.
I mean, what, yeah, it's up to you.
Can we, can you make that work?
Yeah,
Okay.
oh, Thursdays are fine with me, I'm on call every Wednesday.
We
They can
want
get
to
along
schedule
without you.
finance committee for 4:30, Thursday, November 20th.
Do you think an hour and a half is enough even? Or should,
I
or
hope
should we
so.
see when,
I'm gonna, my brain's gonna be fried if we spend any more time on it,
no,
so.
mine is already. I'm not sure we can get it
I
done.
will say, based on what she told me with their November, they're doing a lot of audits at a lot of areas this month, so they're very thinly scheduled out, that they don't have wiggle room, so that's why she volunteered for this. And it would probably be any further than that, and then you got holidays that come up the next week, and then anything further than that, we'd have to be looking into December.
Okay. All right,
4:30 then?
4:30. Bring some coffee. All right, we're gonna move on. We're gonna review and discuss the tax levy ordinance. I think we have established that the property tax levy, we're shooting for 3.5%, but we're gonna be P-TEL at 3.9.
Correct.
So we're raising it to maximum according to this. The committee, of course, can recommend something else to the board. I would like to hear the committee's thoughts on it.
I guess I can go, cause I've had some thoughts on this.
Go ahead.
The first page of the ordinance, the first paragraph, I'd like taken out of there, because our annual appropriation has nothing to do with the tax ordinance. The county of DeKalb doesn't care what our appropriations are.
I'm concurring.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm not sure that we need to, on the last page, I'm not sure that we need to add the rates into our levy or the EAV, because the county sets all that. They know all that. Is all they need to know, in my estimation, is how much money are we going to levy? And what funds it's gonna go into. I don't think we need any of the rest of that stuff.
I agree. And I will also say that I hate raising taxes. But we currently have a negative general fund balance, and we're supposed to have 25% of our yearly expenditure in that fund, and we don't.
So what is this gonna impact?
This is the property tax.
Property tax.
Right, so how much, on
Also-
average, what's it gonna impact your average citizen
Gonna,
or homeowner?
well, it's gonna raise it 2.9%.
It's gonna raise our portion 2.9%.
And what's our current amount?
We levied 124,900 in 2024. We're levying 128,979, 2025.
And that also accounts for any, I don't think there's a EAV raise, but there could be. And that's why we're going to the 3.5%. We can cut it back to 2.9%. But then there's money we may lose that we didn't levy for.
Yeah, well, my guess is the EAV will update just based on existing property values.
The current clerk, let me see the email. Got all my windows open, Jen hates my windows.
Oh my God, it's like 90 of them open.
So when I was asking if we needed to do anything different or just do the 3.5%, and she said, since there's no new construction to capture, as far as the estimated sheet says, you can easily just do 3.5 over last year's dollars. So I don't know what were the boat marina thing? What were you saying about that?
Yeah, I don't think that's not included in the 2025, 2025 EAV. I don't think it's in there yet. Because that would raise our EAV, and she told me there's nothing to raise it between 24 and 25. That's the only new construction that's been in the village, is Lakeside Marine. And I know it takes time to get it into the EAV.
Right.
So whichever portion is the village's portion, that portion is up to 2.9.
But there's also adjustments that they make.
the village's portion is very, very small,
Right.
but the other taxing districts are gonna raise too, so.
To the tax bill, but
It probably will go up to 2.9%.
you need to have some cushion in there,
Yeah.
so you get the 2.9%. They're gonna cut it, the county will cut us back to
Yeah.
2.9%. We could run it at 50% and they're gonna cut us back.
Yeah.
But I think 3.5% is a realistic number, and our constituents can't complain about that, I don't think.
I will say
Knowing that
too,
we're gonna be cut back to 2.9.
yeah, the existing home values in Shabbona are up 7% year on year. So our increase it's a rate cut, technically. We're levying more money, but it's a rate cut.
Correct.
This doesn't require a referendum to increase this. This is within a guideline that.
Yeah.
We can raise the CPI, the consumer price and the CPI, or 5%, whichever is less.
So this
And
will
it's
be,
been a long time since the CPI has been over 5%.
well, no it hasn't. It's been like 2 years.
But that's a long time in tax. Cause you're a year behind here too also.
Yeah. So this will go to the village board to vote on. If we don't-
I'll edit it from the notes and I will, send it to Dominic tomorrow for the legal review
When does it become effective?
It has to be filed with the county
in
by the end
December.
of December, the
December?
last Tuesday of December.
Yeah, the goal's to file it prior to the holidays in December, cause otherwise you're cutting it close and.
We really need to get it done
So,
at this next
that's why-
one.
Thankfully, last week, one morning, as I was getting ready for work, I said, oh shit, we need to do a tax levy.
Oh, sure.
And then it takes effect January 1st?
Correct.
Okay, do we have any further discussion on the tax levy ordinance? All right, the next item is review, discuss credit card policy.
I'm taking this is what the attorney looked
Yeah,
at
I
and
think we
revised.
changed
Yes.
the name for the day.
And there's a copy with their,
Yeah, with the changes that they're asking.
yeah, with Marissa's notes on it, and then I incorporated into the policy. Nothing real major.
Right.
It seems like the edits are mostly for clarity.
That's what I thought, yeah. Nothing major changes, just.
Are there any functional changes in this?
No.
Okay. I don't really have anything to add on that, do you? Anybody else wanna comment on the credit card policy now? Okay, well, we'll move on. Frank, you wanted to discuss the slab?
Yeah, the pavilion in Lions Park, the slab was taken out and the upright posts that hold the roof up were gone almost. I mean, they're 4x4 posts and they were down to less than an inch round. It just been ate up over the years. I would imagine it was all when the floor was poured. Well, I know when the floor was poured, that's when the upright posts went in. So it's, I don't know, 50 years old. Anyway, we're gonna have a change order because they spent an extra day replacing posts in there that, I had them replace them all. I said, just do them all. There's no use going back.
Yeah, we got lucky that didn't fall.
Yeah.
Well, we got lucky, nobody got hurt in there.
Right. Well, that's-
And I'll be honest with you guys, I didn't never spend any time in there. But the board needs to take stock of all the assets that we do have, all the buildings, all the things we do have, and we got a lot of fixing up to do. But I felt that needed to be done. Well, it had to be done.
What does that add to the bill?
I haven't got it yet,
Right.
but I do know it took him an extra day. And that's 3 people working on it. So
So they were able to save the roof?
able to save the roof.
Right.
He did, I tell you, he did a wonderful job. I couldn't,
Is it completed now?
it was poured today, and it has, the forms have to be stripped and then backfilled in there, but, the contractor will strip the forms and Jerry and John will do the backfilling and seed it and get, yeah, it'd be another good thing for the board to look at, is go look at, cause it's a really good job.
Who did it?
Tyler Kramer. Contractor out of Lee. It's the same contractor that did our sidewalk.
Yeah, they did very well on the sidewalk, or mine at least, I should say.
So
I had them do some extra stuff.
I'm just letting the finance committee know ahead of time that there's gonna be a change order.
Okay.
And he deserves, I mean, he spent an extra day, three guys' labor for an extra day.
Alright.
And even the village president went after the 4x4s and hauled them home, so tried to save some money that way.
Do we have any further questions, discussion about that?
No.
Okay. The one other thing that I wanted to note, was that we do have the ability, from what I heard Dominic tell me, to put our excess cash in interest-bearing accounts. Right now, we have something like $300,000 in cash across various funds. At just with that funds rate, we were missing out on like $10,000 a year in interest.
This is around the Kellen, this is what Dominic sent me a while back, regarding moving money into interest-bearing accounts. You can have that.
Okay.
I don't think
He was asked about guidelines and what kind of accounts, and
Yeah.
that was,
I don't think we can do that with motor fuel tax. And that's half of that cash that you're talking about, is motor fuel tax is $160-some thousand.
Well, I'd be very curious to see, if we can classify a savings account as this is our motor fuel tax fund, because I know it has to be a designated account. But if we can do that and we can get 3.75% interest, then we should. Right now, we're raising property taxes by $4,000 or $5,000. Well, we wouldn't have to if we just put it in interest-bearing accounts. So I think that we should do that. And so, like, what I would probably ask, and of course, this is up to the committee and the board and the village president, but I would want to ask the village treasurer to kind of identify like what we need in terms of like working capital for 3 to 6 months. Like figure out what that number is, and everything else, all the other cash should go into an interest-bearing account. Because we're losing quite a lot of revenue just by not taking advantage of the money of the cash that we have on hand. Does anybody have any thoughts, comments on that?
I did not see what the lawyer sent back to you, so I'll get that and look at it tomorrow.
Okay.
Jen will get it for me.
okay. I probably have one on my desk for you already.
My read of the gist of it is, we can put it in US Treasuries, we can put it in savings accounts, we can put it in CDs that are FDIC. So, you know, I think we very clearly should.
And,
Do you need this?
I mean,
You have another copy of this?
You can have it. I have it in my email. I'll get it for Frank.
Okay.
If Richard wants it, I can send it to everybody.
Yeah, could
Yeah.
Send it to everybody, yeah.
the main account made $141 in interest this month. Like, and 141 times 12 isn't nothing, I mean, it's not nothing, but it's not great.
Yeah, we're getting some amount of interest, but we could very easily get 3.75%.
Safely.
Safely, yeah. Yeah, that's the Fed funds rate, so that's, that's the risk-free rate of return right now, and we're not getting it. So, the Shabbona taxpayers are losing out on at least $10,000 a year just based on the cash we have right now, so. If we can change one little policy here and just be like, hey, we need to throw this in an interest-bearing account, we should do that for the taxpayers. Questions, concerns, thoughts?
My only, like, eek is that, like, last month we paid our insurance, and that was $21,000 or whatever, you know what I mean? So 3 to 6 months is hard, because some months it's, our expenses are, we're paying insurance, there was another, something really big this month that we paid. So, I mean,
I should be able to help with that though, because insurance is once a year. I
So
got
we
the
could divide
dates
that
for
into-
the loan
yeah.
payments, and I've got anything that's annual renewal or regular.
Okay.
I should be able to help with
It'll
that.
take some work.
yeah,
Right now, our opportunity cost isn't that high, it's not like we have a ton of money in the bank, but, we are operating in the black as far as I can tell based on our financial reports, so, we're gonna build a cash position, and we should be earning interest on that cash position, so. I think certainly going into the future, that's something that we should do. Agreed?
Agreed. At one time, we had $1 million in the general fund.
At one time, we had $1 million in the general fund, we could have cut property taxes by 30%. We didn't do that, instead we spent it all. Neither here nor there, but
You got nothing to show for it.
yeah, but given enough years, we can have $1 million again. And then, maybe we can actually start cutting taxes, which is what I would like to do.
After we finish a couple of projects that sorely need to be done.
Yeah, all right. So, does anybody else have anything?
I just wanna, again, I know that I'm only been appointed to one committee. So I'm willing to volunteer for more committees so that we have, because I know the attorney said we need to have at least 3 board members on each committee so that we,
At least 2, is what he said.
I thought he said 3.
2,
There's 2 and a
and
community
a
member,
community member was the third.
or you do 3.
But I do believe if you wanna volunteer for the finance committee,
Only if Callan will let me.
well, first Callan's gotta tell you that it's okay, then we gotta take it to the board and
Just
have
kidding.
4 board members.
Well, like I said, I'm on one committee. I'm more than willing to serve on more committees if need to get stuff done, so.
And,
Well, we do need the help, so
and
I tend to be in favor of it.
Okay.
so
We can do that.
it's okay with you, and we'll put it on the agenda for the November meeting to put Jeff on the finance committee.
All right.
And quite honestly, anybody that wants to be on any of these committees, let's just get it done so it suits the peanut gallery. And I would like to have every committee be a committee of the whole, but that's a lot of committee meetings.
Yeah.
And for my money, I believe these committee meetings the members should get paid like they do for a regular meeting. And that's something we'll have to go into,
I'll take a $5.
but
You got one?
and if you could cash your checks, by the way.
I just got it today.
So I got a question since you brought that up.
Or whatever.
Mine's direct deposit, so I have to worry.
So the last administration was not compensated for committee meetings?
No.
So, because what I remember from being fined was that, hey, show up and you get paid. If you don't show up, you get fined $25.
That's what I heard.
So-
It's a fine. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so how did they
The ordinance
justify?
was, that what was put in stated that if you don't show up to any meeting, you would be fined $25,
right?
and that came out of what you're paid for board meetings, regular board meetings, 'cause
Right,
that's the
but
only
the-
meetings you get paid for.
But the way they looked at it is they said, well, if you show up, you get paid, why aren't you showing up? That's what the big thing was.
No, I don't know if historically there's ever been pay for committee meetings, because there's nothing in the records that show there was.
Yeah.
So I
mean,
think
The zoning
even back
board
in the,
gets paid.
that $25 a meeting, yeah. But historically, committee, even back in the earlier 2000s, when they had committees, they weren't paid for them.
I don't know, that's what they kept saying to me, well, show up and you get paid.
Yeah.
So I went from being an indentured servant to a slave, basically.
If the,
Cause then I had to, if I didn't show up,
For the privilege.
yeah, like it cost me $25 not to show up.
if the finance committee would agree, we'll put on the agenda for November's meeting to take a look at that ordinance and
It's
Get it
already
going.
been repealed.
Yeah,
rebuild it. Okay.
Oh, yeah, the fines
the
been
fine.
repealed.
Fine was repealed, yeah.
Yeah, that was already done.
Okay.
But what
Oh, we
about
don't have to
paying,
excuse
what
it.
about getting paid for,
So the way it would
Well, we'll
work
have to, yeah,
is it need to be discussed at a board meeting. The board can vote on it. However, as elected officials, it does not go into play till the next election, which would be in 2027. And it would only be for the officials that are elected that year. Anybody who serves through 2029 is not eligible unless they rerun in 2029 and get reelected. It's, that is state election. And
I'm
It's
glad
like-
they have that, so we
so
can vote ourselves.
it's-
ridiculous raise,
it's not
but-
our,
Oh,
it's
JP
not a
does
village
pretty well.
thing, that, we don't have a say in that. There's no override on that. It's an elected officials law.
Well,
But the community members can be paid.
If it
Is
was
there not
voted
one?
in, that would
If we
effective,
voted it in.
that could be an effective date.
Am I the only community member at this
You're a
point?
community member, yes.
I'm the only one though so far.
No, there's
No.
Is he online?
infrastructure.
Infrastructure
and
committee.
No,
Steve,
infrastructure.
We haven't had anybody else volunteer. You were,
Zoning only.
Okay. If we've got nothing else, motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I second that motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Oh, I'm not ready in 27 or 21, so.